Hello everyone, my name is Madam Beef and welcome back to my Minecraft series. Now in the last video we made this lovely auto crop farm and I've definitely been putting it to use as far as getting carrot trades in with my farmer villagers and melon and pumpkins. It's been really awesome getting more emeralds. And I'm in need of another form of emerald trading. So in today's episode, I am going to be making a auto wool farm. Now, I do technically already have one, but it's just in the middle of nowhere and in the middle of my future town square. I designed the build in creative already, so I do have a material list, but one of the things that I'm missing are frog lights. So I decided about a week ago when I began the process that I was going to start by making a frog light farm. So I'm going to show you the footage of me making that. And then I'll check back in with you. I actually made a couple more farms over the last week, but they all are very relevant, and I'm excited to share with you what I have done in this world. So the first thing and most important thing I had to do was to go find frogs. Now, I hadn't had any luck so far in this world finding a decent swamp. I think I maybe passed a very small one. I had to travel about 10,000 blocks before I found this swamp, but I eventually did, and so this was me just breeding the frogs, and then I waited for the tadpoles to hatch and then grabbed some buckets and grabbed those tadpoles so that I could take them back home. And while I was doing this, I also went ahead and gathered some snow buckets because I needed that for the farm as well. This is the Pixel Rifts farm that I'm following. I'll link that in the description below, so if you want to follow it, you can. I just used his tutorial. It was pretty easy. I ended up going through the nether to get back home instead of flying just because it was so far away, and I locked all my stuff that was important up into my ender chest so that I couldn't lose it. If anything happened, I end up dying. But I went through the nether portal, and this freaks me out every time I do it because sometimes I have walked out into lava as soon as spawning in the nether before, so I always am very anxious when I do this. I end up in a basalt delta, of course, the worst nether biome there is. I started flying my way back home, but eventually had to tunnel through the nether to get back because I just could not figure out how to get to the right coordinates. I tried fighting this ghast to get the return to sender achievement and failed. I still have not gotten it, but after a while I started getting attacked by a skeleton, and I continued trying to fight this ghast for a while after this and just did not get it. So I'll have to get it eventually later. But after that, I did end up finding my way back home. Once I got back, I started to hatch the frogs just to make sure that they were temperate, which is what I thought they would be. And once they hatched, I took them back up to my attic and then ended up breeding them some more, so I had some extra tadpoles just in case anything happened to them. And while they were breeding and I was waiting for the tadpoles to hatch, I decided to go into the nether and start working on making the actual farm. I used powdered concrete to staircase my way down so I could get closer to the magma spawner, and I started to get attacked by a hoglin. He almost pushed me off, but I covered him up and hid in a hole, as I always do. Next, I surrounded the magma cube spawner with dirt, so if you don't know, this basically disables the magma cubes from spawning, but if you want to go watch Pixel Rift's video, he'll give a better explanation of how and why that works. But I got it covered up, and then I decided to go into the desert biome to get the rest of the frog types. So I just covered up some of the villager houses so that they couldn't get attacked by zombies while I was waiting for the frogs to hatch. But once they hatched, I was able to take them through the nether back to the farm. And I had already made a tunnel previously and made it all safe so that they could get through easily. And then I got them into the farm by kind of pulling them in and then breaking the blocks under them. And earlier I had done the same with the verdant frogs and the temperate frogs. So these are the last frogs that I needed in the farm before I could get it ready to go. So after that, I covered it up to try to keep anything from falling in, and then took the dirt out. And this is the first time I'd used a dropper elevator for the collection system, so it kind of made me nervous in the beginning because I wasn't getting the frog lights through, but that was just because there was so much dirt that was being pulled through the system. But I eventually did end up getting the frog lights coming through, and I got the achievement with our powers combined. And after the farm was done, I ended up keeping one extra of each frog type so that I could make a home for them in the future. So the frog light farm is now complete, but I have another task that I need to take on before I can really do anything else. Right now I have 59 rockets to my name, and this is the entirety of my sugarcane farm. Up until this point, I've been able to make do with grabbing sugarcane as I need it. And I've had enough stocked up to where it hasn't been a problem, but now I'm down to 26 sugarcane. Gunpowder, on the other hand, has not been a problem because pretty early on I made this gunpowder farm that is directly under my base. It's about 8 layers tall, and it provides just enough for me to survive off of it. I think one of the main reasons why I haven't built a sugarcane farm yet is because I haven't really known where to put it, and I don't really want to make a sugarcane farm that is surrounded by a build. I want something that I can enjoy to look at in all aspects. I want it to function and also be enjoyable to look at. I don't want to just make something that I need to cover up because I'm trying to hide the redstone. I do have an entire unfinished basement that has plenty of room for something like this, where I can focus more so on the functionality of the plan and the presence in the space without having to worry about just covering it up. So I don't really have a plan of how I want to lay this out, but I do think I'm just going to start by carving away some of the space down here and seeing what functions and what works. And I do have an idea for a different type of collection system that I want to work on, and I'm really excited to give that a try. So I'm just going to get going on it, and we will see what I come up with. So one of the first things that I definitely need to do is to start getting rid of some of this stuff that I've just had sitting in the way for so long. Some of it I don't need anymore. Like, I already have another lava farm, so that's just going to go away. And of course, I have this stonemason that I've been keeping hostage down here because I cured him, and he gives me really good deals. But eventually, I do want to make a home for him as well. Maybe it'll be in the basement, maybe not, but we will figure that out when the time comes. Somehow, this has turned into me making yet another farm, but this one's just going to be a quick one. Enough to get me more green dye as I need it, and then I'm going to take it down. But I did go ahead and make another because I just can't stop. So I've been chipping away at the interior of this basement over the course of the last couple of days, just as I had the time. And I'm not quite done, but I'm pretty excited with how it's turned out. And I wanted to give you a little sneak peek before I continue finishing the rest. But I'm so excited. So I tried to do a barrel vault ceiling just for this little gathering space. And I can put some of the more like utility blocks around here. And then I got these maps laid out. So this is my base, and I actually play on a server with only 2 other people, but it's mostly just me that plays. So that's the base of the person who owns the server. But I wanted to go ahead and make a map to show where my base is as well as his base. So my plan is to use allays to collect the materials, and I think I'm gonna do more of like a L shape kind of, and then have a collection system here across from this, so that I can come here and they'll have them dropped there, and then this will be sugarcane farm. That's just the back of the lava farm, but I may use some of this as well. And I think I'm just gonna try to start laying that out, figure out the collection system, and check back in once I'm done with that. So the sugarcane farm is complete, and I'm so excited to show you guys what I've done with it. I'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek. This is the view when you come down the stairs, and I like how it just draws your attention towards the sugarcane farm with just the light and how dark the room itself kind of is. But I wanted to have a view that is framed with a little bit of a tree off to the side where you can see part of it, but not all of it. So there's a little bit of a mystery in there. But it's not intended for people to actually go in, because I don't want people to let the lace out, because they're very sneaky and they can get out so easily since they're so small. However, I do have a hidden entrance behind the map wall so that I can get in there to fix anything, but it's pretty hard for the allays to get out through these trap doors, so I don't have to worry about them escaping. Inside the farm, there are about 64 individual sugarcane plants, so that as they grow, the observers see them grow and the pistons push them, and then once they fall on the ground, the allays will grab the sugarcane and deliver it to these hoppers that are next to a note block. And about every 30-ish seconds, the note block will make a noise that reconnect the allays to it. I think that's the best way to explain it. I did follow a tutorial on how to make the system to connect the allays, so I can link that as well if you're interested in making a collection system like this. But a majority of the redstone is hidden under the base of the tree. It's basically just a hopper clock that pushes pistons that occasionally will push a redstone block into the note block, and when that note block goes off, it tells the Allays that they need to drop their assigned item to that note block. And actually behind the farm at the top of the tree, I have a system connected to a daylight sensor where every morning when the sun rises, it'll play music. So if you don't know, Allays really like music, and when they play it, they'll start dancing, but that's actually how you duplicate them if you need more. So I keep amethyst shards nearby, so if I do end up needing to make more Allays, then I can duplicate them any morning I need to. Now I think it's finally time that I upgrade some of my gear to netherite. I've had 2 netherite ingots for a while now, but I didn't have a smithing template, so I hadn't been able to. But thankfully the other person on the server was kind enough to share an extra with me. So I decided I was going to upgrade my pickaxes as my first pieces in 1.20. I need to go hunting for some more netherite soon, but for now this is sufficient. I'm just glad to finally have some netherite pieces. If you remember in the last video, I wanted to add llamas to my animal pens, but a wandering trader would not show up, but I finally found some llamas. I decided to breed them for the 2x2 achievement, but I didn't realize that the baby llama was also gonna have the wandering trader carpet on it. Kind of weird, but it's so cute and so little. I want to get some more music discs for the music player I have set up for the Allays, so I made this contraption that will trap a creeper in a hole if it follows me, and then I have a skeleton standing on a pressure plate that activates the trap doors. So then once I put down TNT and add lava, the skeleton is able to shoot through the lava with an arrow and then activate the TNT, which then counts as a skeleton unaliving a creeper. So I was able to get a couple extra music discs using this method. Now that I've taken care of all my side quests, I think it's finally time that I start working on gathering materials for the wool farm, which was the whole purpose of this video to begin with. I've kind of been spending the last couple of Minecraft days trading with this villager so I can get some more bricks, because I know that I'm going to need a lot of those for the build, and I'm expecting that to be one of the harder parts. So I've been preparing as best as I can on the side while taking care of this other stuff. But yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and start collecting the materials and check back in once that's done. One of the materials I need is mud, so I did end up making yet another farm. This one's by Il Mango, so I'll link that one below as well. So now that you've seen kind of what I've been up to the last couple of days, I think it's time to go ahead and give you an update on where I'm at now. So I've gone ahead and collected all the materials for the auto wool farm. So these are the items that I am using. And the only things I really needed to collect more of were moss, and mud, which I did end up making a mud farm, a pretty quick one. And then I did have to gather some more bricks, so I ended up moving my mason villager up here into my bedroom, and then I pulled 5 more from my villager breeder over there. So I now have 6 mason villagers. I almost have them fully upgraded to have all their trades, but I was able to get a lot more bricks that way, and I'm hoping in the future I can use that to get more quartz blocks as well for when I want to build with those. But now that I have all of the materials, I'm going to go ahead and start preparing to build. So my current plan is to center the farm on this little town square. So I think it's going to be right here, kind of next to my house. But I do eventually kind of want to cover my house up so it's not as giant as it is in comparison. But I think that the auto wool farm is going to go here. And so I'm going to go ahead and start laying down the foundation for that. I think I'm going to start by relocating all the sheep so that the farm is running again. And then I'll start building around it. So I have the space cleared out for where the wool farm is going to go. A big portion of this is going to be underground. Well, at least this is going to be the entrance level, so there's going to be a portion of it underground, so it's not going to really go this deep down. It wasn't too hard clearing out all of this because a lot of it was already this cave back here. I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to transition from this land into the build, so probably some terraforming coming up, but I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think I'll be able to figure it out. It's just going to be minor terraforming to blend it into the building. Now that my shovel is all prepared, I'm going to go ahead and start with the sheep farm portion of the entire building, which is the lower half, and then check back in after. So I just got the last sheep in of my original 16 sheep. Now I do have 18 spots, so I'm able to fit 2 extra, and I think for now I'm going to make them one a black and one a brown sheep because those are the ones I've been trading so far. But I'm kind of treating those two as ones that I can dye as I need. And luckily, whenever I made this sheep farm, I kept three extra sheep in here that I didn't originally use. And with this final sheep, that will be the last one for the sheep farm. What? Excuse. No. Oh my god. Never mind. It's a good thing I have a third sheep. Sorry. This is the completed exterior of the auto wool farm. It's nice having something that's not residential in this area. That's kind of what I was going for, is I wanted it to feel more like a warehouse or a factory. But I also wanted it to feel like it fit within a town square and had some more detail to it. So I added a little bit of a clock tower on it. Right now, the interior is very incomplete. I'm still trying to figure out what I like, what colors work. I had done some crimson wood in here and decided that wasn't really my favorite, so I started replacing it with the jungle wood, which I think looks better. But this is where all the sheep reside. And then down this staircase is where the storage is. I need to figure out what I want to do for the flooring in here as well as along this wall, but I'll figure that out here shortly. And then up these stairs is where I'm going to have a lot of shepherds for trading. Now, I originally set this up as like a trading hall, but I think I may make it more of like merchant stalls instead, just because I don't think I need this many shepherd villagers. I may need like 4 or 5. I'm going to figure out what trades they offer before I decide how many I'm going to use, but I don't think that the villager trading hall style is going to be what I end up using in this space. I do also have a little room back here, which is where the other archway is, and I think I'm just going to make this a little storage room and maybe put a bed and just some workstations in here for whenever I do just jump in and need to sleep through the night. Now, with this being a more commercial style build, I wanted to go with a flat roof, but I didn't want it to just be plain, so I took some inspiration from Scar and added what is supposed to represent some rooftop equipment, some HVAC units, and I used redstone lamps with daylight sensors on them so that at night this gets lit up and mobs don't spawn up here. Hello! So, it's been a while in real life since I last checked in, and you'll notice that I now have a netherite helmet and netherite boots. And that's because a couple of days ago I decided to have a more relaxing time playing the game. I wasn't filming or anything, I just decided to go mining for netherite. And I ended up dying in the nether. I accidentally right-clicked on a bed instead of middle-clicking, and it took me out pretty easily. Luckily, the only important things I lost were my wings and my gold pants, but I was able to remake those pretty easily. I did lose some other small things like a shulker box and some food, but nothing important. So overall, it wasn't too bad. I've recovered since then, but part of that is due to something I found. After finding a ton of random ender pearls in a chest, I realized that the person I play on the server with had finished building an enderman farm. I knew they were working on it, but I didn't know it was done, and I hadn't been to the end in a while, so I wasn't sure. But this is the first time I've seen an enderman farm, and it's so insane. There's just a constant, an abundance of endermen. It's mind-blowing. I ended up adding the ender pearl trash can because of all the extra ender pearls, but I used this to repair a lot of my gear and enchant my pants so that they're back up to what I needed. After recovering from that, I got back to work on the wool farm and finishing up the interior, and I just finished that pretty recently, so I'm ready to go ahead and show you what I've come up with in the process. So as you enter the farm and past the sheep, I have this little loft-style bedroom down here just so I can sleep if I need to drop in at night, and I can store some things. I'll probably end up storing some emeralds for trading here eventually, but just a little small area that I can set up base in if needed. Downstairs, I did finish the floor. I decided to go with like a rainbow style of the glazed terracotta, just to kind of go with the rainbow wool that we have down here. And I filled in this wall just with more stone bricks. So pretty simple over here, but I think the floor covers it as far as making it a little bit less simple. And then my favorite part is the upstairs, of course. So I had said I wanted to do more of like a merchant style trading hall, and this is what I came up with. So I have 6 total shepherd villagers. I have 2 guys up here on this raised area by the windows, and then I have one on each end, and then 2 that share the middle stall. On the exterior of the build, there is some mud that shows through, and I had to find a way to cover that up without making it too obvious. So I ended up going with some bookshelves and seating on this side. And then on this side, I went with some storage for the tradable wool. So with that being said, this auto wool farm is officially complete. I still need to do some work out here, terraforming and connecting the paths, but I think I'm going to save that for its own episode because there's quite a bit of work I want to do out here on the land, just in general. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I'm still trying to learn my own style and technique, so if you have any tips and tricks for me, please leave them in a comment down below. I have a lot of ideas of things I want to work on in the future, so I would really appreciate it if you're interested in joining me along for the ride. If you could subscribe and possibly leave a like as well. But other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!